So you're moving to Brussels, joining 1.2 million people in the Belgian capital and hub of the European Union. The upside is that you'll be in good company, as almost a third of the city is comprised of foreigners, non-Belgians. So in this video, I'm going to do my best to outline the most important things to know before moving here, as well as provide you with all the resources that helped ease my transition when I moved here just over 2 years ago. So let's jump right in. Hello and welcome to the channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Alexandra Templeton and I am a personal trainer and yoga teacher. And my videos normally focus on all things health, wellness, and fitness. Though I am currently based in Brussels, Belgium, so I thought it would be nice to put this video together highlighting some of the things that I have come across in my 2 years living here, the quirks of Belgian culture, as well as resources that I think would help ease someone else's transition if they decide to move here. Or just, if you're interested in learning more about the capital city, then stay tuned. So the structure of today's video will be broken down into 4 component parts. I will include timestamps down below to help you better navigate the video if you're looking to jump to a specific section. But the first section will be on Belgian culture. So in it we'll have things like languages, the location, and just Belgian lifestyle. Second up, we'll have logistics, going over visas, kind of community resources, and things that you need to know, the legalities of living in Belgium. Third, we'll have housing, so renting contracts, different neighborhoods to live in, prices, mortgages, etc. And the fourth section will be on living here, so price of food, entertainment, transportation, and recreational activities. So if you enjoyed today's video or you learned something about Brussels, it would really mean a lot if you took a moment out to hit that like button down below. It really supports my channel and it helps show the YouTube algorithm this kind of content to other people who may be interested in moving here. And consider subscribing if you like home workouts, yoga, and other things Brussels related. So let's jump right into it today with the first section, which will be Belgian culture. So Brussels is the capital of Belgium, which is a small country located in northwestern Europe and is characterized by many things that you may already be familiar with, such as the Belgian waffle, Belgian chocolate, and Belgian beer. And I did go into a lot more depth in a video here actually already on the channel that I will link to in the description box below, in which I go into much more of the food and the culinary customs of the Belgian people. So I'll leave that here so as not to reiterate all the information that I went through. But one important thing that you need to know if you're going to be moving here is that there are 3 national languages, 3 official languages of Belgium: French, Flemish, and German. Now, Brussels is the capital region, which is situated kind of in between Wallonia, which is the southern part of Belgium, where they speak French, and Flanders, which is the northern part, where they speak Flemish. And Brussels region goes off of 2 main languages, which is French and English. Now, most of the legal documentation, all the legal documentation will be both in French and Flemish, always, though I have found that in order to navigate the city best, it's helpful if you speak either French or English. So I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you already can understand and communicate well in English, though it would behoove you to have at least some French before moving here. The good news is that there are plenty of resources here in the city to help you on your language learning journey. So starting off with French, there's a great school here called Alliance Française, and they have many different locations around the city, and I will link to their website down in the description box below. All the resources that I mentioned in today's video will be linked in the description box below. And they offer classes for every level, and they're quite affordable. If you're looking to go more the Flemish route, which may be required for the work you are pursuing here, there's a great school called the Brussels Academy. Again, it will be linked down below. Or if neither of those happen to fit your schedule, I have found it really helpful to check out private Facebook groups such as Expats in Brussels or Expat Women in Brussels, Expat Men in Brussels, because oftentimes people will advertise their services as a private tutor. So you can book a one-to-one class with someone at any time of the day. Moving on to more of the logistics side of things, there's a really fabulous website I want to highlight here called Expatica. And they go over everything from visas to taxes to getting a mortgage in Belgium. And your situation may be unique, so I would reference them for your specific questions. However, if you are moving from another European Union country, your transition here will be quite easy. Your driver's license, you may want to switch over to a Belgian driver's license, and there's no test you have to take, as I believe. Just make sure that your driver's license is still valid and they will accept it here and give you a Belgian alternative. However, the situation is a little bit different for my fellow Americans watching. So as a US citizen, you can come here to the European Union and stay for 90 days, 3 months, and travel and just hang out, although I don't believe you're allowed to work. If you're planning to stay here and work, you will need a visa. There are a few different ways to get visas here. Option 1 is you can be sponsored by a company. So if you're being contracted, this is easy. The company will most likely take care of that for you. You can also find a European citizen, or if you're in a relationship with a European citizen, and there are a few different ways to go about getting a visa tied to them. That's actually what Robert and I did. And we have a visa here that's under the purview of, it's called cohabitation légale, and it means legal cohabitation. So it means that we're in a domestic partnership. That's another way. If you happen to be in a relationship with someone, a European here, and you want to stay with them and continue to work, you can work legally. But again, I will redirect any specific questions you may have to that website, Expatica, because they are awesome. They've written many specific posts on really any problem you could have. Next up, for logistics, there are a few Facebook groups that I want to highlight that are really nice for answering these specific questions that may come up often, whether it's looking for an accountant here, or asking specific questions about your visa, or if you have a problem here with some kind of Belgian bureaucracy, which I'll get into, but you're most likely going to encounter at least once. There are 2 Facebook groups. First is Expat Women in Brussels. So if you're a woman, that's great. I think there's also a male equivalent, Expat Men in Brussels, or Expats in Brussels, and Expats Living and Working in Brussels. So these are private groups, so you do need to be accepted into them in order to post and to read the posts from other members. But they're wonderful, and I have asked many questions on there. People are very quick to reply, and you can ask them specific to the commune that you're living in, the region that you're living in, and ask for English-speaking doctors, accountants, specialists, or French, or any other language that you happen to speak. And I'm sure that there's someone on there who can help you out with your query. And the last 2 things I want to mention here under the umbrella of logistics are your healthcare and your tax status. So starting with your healthcare, you will choose a healthcare provider to pay into every month. And then there are 2 kinds of doctors here. First of all, my experience with Belgian doctors has been wonderful. I've had really good service and I can't really complain. So that's a plus. There are 2 kinds of doctors here. There are private doctors, and then there are doctors that belong to this group. I will link to the official name down below because I'm blanking on it right now. But these doctors work with the healthcare providers to give you a better rate. So you can choose based on what procedure you're seeking to go to a private specialist or to the doctor in this group. And the company, your healthcare provider, will reimburse you the same amount for the procedure. So if you're going for a more expensive doctor, then you're just paying the difference from that reimbursement. Second side of things is your tax status. So if you're working with a company, if you're here working with a company and you're an American and being sponsored by a company, then you can redirect your tax questions to them. They will have someone on staff to help you with Belgian taxes, and most likely they will pay your taxes out of your salary, so that's not really anything to worry about. If, however, you are coming here as a freelancer or an entrepreneur, or you're looking to start a business, you will go down a slightly different path. And this is actually what I did last year when I started my business here. And the good news is that there are a lot of resources here that I will of course link to that helped me out when starting my business down below. But there are certain fees associated with it. There are certain hoops that you have to jump through, like starting, having a specific business bank account, all that jazz that I will reference down below. Unfortunately, one thing that you cannot escape, whether you're working with a company or as an independent, is that the taxes here in Belgium are really high. And that's just the price we have to pay for living here, though it will depend, of course, on which bracket you fall into. But yeah, that's a little bit of a downside to living here, as taxes are quite high. Okay, our third section in today's video is housing. So you're moving to Brussels, you're excited to start your new job, you're ready to live the Belgian life, but you don't know where to live or really what to expect when moving here. No worries, I've got you covered. So within the Brussels capital region, there are 19 communes, which sounds a little bit freaky, but it just means the region, as they're broken up into different postal codes. And each commune has its own vibe, its own kind of character that lives there. And as there are 19, I won't go through all of them. I will, however, reference once again that wonderful website of Expatica as they go through the different neighborhoods and break them down a little bit into the people that live there, kind of the housing prices, and what space you can get for your budget. However, just a little preview here. If you're moving here with kids and you're looking for more of the family structure, there's a great neighborhood called Saint-Pierre. It's a little bit pricier as you're getting more space. You're generally getting the bigger houses with maybe a garage or two, and there's more open space for your kids to run around. So if you're looking for the family lifestyle, I would check that area out. If you're moving here as a single unit and you are a young professional looking to work either in Parliament or with the EU institutions, then Schumann or Ixelles or Etterbeek are your neighborhoods. I will leave the names of those places here on the screen now. So Schumann is where the institutions are. It has a much more polished look to it. There's a lot of office space. There's also great parks around, and you'll be in good company of other people working in the institutions or in Parliament. If you're looking for a more bohemian vibe, something with a lot of good cafes, good markets, restaurants, and a more lively scene, maybe some outdoor music, then Ixelles or Saint-Gilles is a good place for you to check out. And lastly, I'll just mention Brussels capital region, which is the little circle you see on the map of Brussels. It's the innermost part, and it's great for nightlife. There are cool bars, cool restaurants, has a really nice vibe. However, it's a bit more touristy, as that's where a lot of the main attractions are located, such as the Ronplatz and Mannekes and Jannekes. So just be aware that in the high season, you may be contending with lots of tourists. And there's also, it's very difficult to find parking. So if you have a car, this is one consideration I would make. And the streets are incredibly narrow, so it's just generally difficult to navigate there with a car. Now, I only mentioned, I think, 4 or 5 different communes, but I will link to that blog post down below so that you can get an idea of each commune and what flavor it has, depending on what phase of life you're in or what you're looking for specifically. So just check it out down below. Okay, and the last section in today's video is living here. So let's say you've already moved to the city, you found an apartment that you like in a commune that suits you, and you're looking to get into some of the day-to-day particulars. So the first thing I want to highlight is transportation. Now, Belgian transportation is awesome. I don't know if it's because I'm American or what, but the transportation here is really exceptional. First of all, going on public transportation, you have buses, you have trams, metro that reach to almost every corner of the Brussels capital region. And then you also have Uber, you have Lime scooters, you have jump bikes, and you have a bike service here provided by the city called Velo. You need a subscription for that, but there's really any mode of transportation that you could imagine to get you from A to B. And it's also super affordable. The average metro fare is about €2, though of course you can get a metro pass that will apply to metro, to tram, and to bus. It's really fabulous, so I can't speak highly enough of it, and yeah, you'll see it's also very clean and very safe. Next up is the cost of living, and this bleeds a little bit into the previous section of housing. This will be very dependent on your current lifestyle situation and your work, also depending on where you live, as each commune is associated with slightly higher or lower apartment prices, or if you're co-sharing a house. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration there. But I would say that the biggest expenses you'll have here in Brussels will be your rent and or mortgage and food. Of course, it will depend on where you're going, if you're choosing a fast food establishment or a proper restaurant, but I would say that the base fare, whether it's in a fast food or even just a casual sit-down place, is about 10 to 15 euros per plate, and then you can bump that up to about 60 euros a head, 50, 60 euros a head for dinner in a restaurant if you're including drinks and appetizers. Now, Belgium is famous for its beer, and that's not without claim. The beer here is fabulous. I would highly recommend you try as many as you can until you find 1 or 4 that suit you. Super tasty, highly recommend. Last up is recreational activities. So as I mentioned in the intro, I am a personal trainer and yoga teacher, and I do happen to work at a studio here in Brussels that I would love to give a shout out to, the Brussels Yoga Loft. So if you find yourself either visiting Brussels or living here and you enjoy yoga, make sure to check out the classes there. I teach every Tuesday and Thursday. I'll link to their website down below so you can check the full class schedule and find a time that suits you. However, if yoga is not your jam, I totally understand. There's also plenty of gyms here, ranging from the most basic, one is called Basic Fit, like the most bare bones kind of affordable one, all the way up to the luxury gyms called David Lloyd and Astria. So you can really find something that suits you. There's also a lot of hobby sports here, clubs. The good thing is that Brussels is a very multicultural region. It's a very cosmopolitan space, so there are people from all over Europe and all over the world living here, and I think that one benefit of that is that, or there's many benefits of it, but one specific one is that people are always starting restaurants or clubs or different groups for things that interest them, and then you can find something that suits you. So really, I would again check out the Facebook groups if you're looking for a specific sport or a specific hobby, because someone on there will either have started it or will definitely know where to find it. Okay, and that's all we have for today's video. Thank you all so much for joining. I hope that I covered the biggest questions that you could have about moving to Brussels. This may have to be a part 1 of 2, depending on what the questions are in the comments down below. If there's anything that I missed or any burning questions you have, I will link to all of those resources in the description box below, but also feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'd be happy to make a part 2 here for more specific inquiries. So thank you all again so much. I wish you the best of luck on your transition to moving to Brussels. It's a wonderful city, and we'll be lucky to have you. And until next time, guys, I will see you in my next video. Take care. Ciao.